The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons we're going to be talking about taxes. Sorry, but not sorry, because we're going to hear some really great information about some of those tax credits we know are out there that might be available to you. We have a couple of great guests with us from the Department of Revenue, and they're going to tell us all about what we need to know to get those taxes done and done well. Stay with us.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
45 years, 2 packs a day. It's like $80,000. I thought I was just hurting myself until I fell asleep in a chair with a cigarette. The whole house went up. I lost it all. I knew smoking was expensive, but I never thought it would cost me everything.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, but my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimmy Everman, and as I said in our open, it's tax time again. And you know, it doesn't have to be awful, especially if you can learn about the very best sort of tax assistance for you, and to just get to know a little bit about the Department of Revenue in our state and what you need to do to get those taxes taken care of. We have with us, first of all, Bryce Katz. Bryce, welcome back.
Thank
You've
you
been
for
with us
having me
many
back.
times. And Shaylin Daigle. Daigle, it's your first time, so
It is.
welcome.
Thank you.
And you guys are both unit managers for the Department of Revenue.
Correct.
Bryce, just for a little bit of context, what's the purpose of the Department of Revenue?
Yeah, really the Department of Revenue is responsible for administering all the different taxes that the state of Montana's legislature has decided to levy against the people. I think there's over 40 different tax types out there, but the ones that people are going to be most familiar with are property taxes and then individual income tax.
Well, and let's just jump right into that, because one of the big things that we like to talk about every year is the property tax assistance, some of the elderly tax credits that we have available to us. Why don't you give us some idea of what's available?
Sure. The primary program on the property tax side of things is called the Property Tax Assistance Program, or commonly referred to as PTAP. Because it has a couple different requirements in order to qualify. You have to own your property, you have to reside in that property as your primary residence for at least 7 months of the year, and then you have to fall under certain income thresholds. If you meet those 3 requirements, and then depending on where your income falls under the max threshold, you can get a reduction on your property taxes up to $200,000 in value of 80%, 50%, or 30%.
So it's really, really worth your time to look into it.
Absolutely. If you think you might qualify, you can find the application on our website, mtrevenue.gov. You can call our call center at 444-6900, or we have local property assessment field offices scattered throughout the state, and you can go to one of those field offices and they'd be happy to help you get an application and get it filled out.
Sure. And I do want to say, too, that the property tax may be waived, but you're still paying, just so we remind folks, they're still paying for their trash and their water and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Because I made that mistake a couple of years ago, and because we're on the veterans assistance, and you just want to remember to not forget that piece of what you owe.
Yes, for the property tax assistance program, you're still going to get a bill. The benefit applies to what we call the ad valorem property taxes. Those are the mill-based taxes that go to fund the counties, the schools. In addition to that, people on their tax bill often are going to have additional special fees or assessments, and the benefit doesn't apply to those special fees and assessments.
Just because I was so shocked and and then went, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. Of course you would still pay that. And you also work with a VA tax assistance, don't you?
Correct. There is a program geared specifically to disabled veterans. It works very similarly to the PTAP program. It's called the Montana Disabled Veterans Program. It has the same essential criteria for qualifying. You have to own the property. You have to reside in it for at least 7 months of the year as your primary residence. You have to fall beneath the income thresholds, which are higher than they are in the PTAP program. And then the fourth criteria to qualify for that is you have to be rated at 100% disabled from the VA or paid at the 100% rate. Or if you're a surviving spouse of someone who was rated or paid at the 100% rate, or passed from a service-related disability, or while on active duty, that surviving spouse can also qualify.
And I think, that's another one thing that I like to really remind folks of, is that 100% disability, or you can actually be rated at 70% and maybe be paid at 100 in the VA system. So you need to go to one of their service officers and find out more about that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And how do people find out about how to even sign up for these, Bryce?
Yeah, the easiest way, again, is go to our website, mtrevenue.gov. We have lots of good information that kind of explain the programs, and you can find the application forms for both programs there. Or, like I mentioned, our call center staff are great. You can call our call center at 406-444-6900. Or again, if you're out in the field, county outside of Helena, we have field offices located throughout the state. Again, that contact information is on our website. You can go to any one of our offices out there, and we'd be more than happy to sit down and help you.
And, one thing that, before we head out of this segment, let's just talk quickly about that online doing your taxes. Pretty good way to electronically get your taxes in and get it done quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Once we get to the next segment, we'll go in more detail, but we 100% recommend you file online electronically.
Right. And now we're in the very last week of January, so people are starting to get all their information together, and don't be like me and wait for the last minute, right? Is it better to get it done and just get it over with?
Absolutely, especially if you're one of the people that are expecting a refund. The sooner you file your tax return, the sooner you're going to get your refund.
Yeah, and let's just also mention, it's extremely safe. I've been doing it for years online, and it's very safe. Never had a problem. So I think we can reassure people that it's a real safe system.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, folks, we have a lot more to talk about. We're going to talk about some renter credits when we come back, as well as more about how you want to file electronically to get that refund back really quickly and safely and right into your bank account. So stay with us. We have a whole lot more to talk about. We don't want you to miss a thing.
Today, class, we'll be discussing the term ombudsman, a word we borrowed from the Swedes and never gave back. Say you're a resident or you have a loved one in long-term care. Now, what do you do if you're not happy with the care and services you receive? You call your long-term care ombudsman, of course. Your ombudsman is available to support you and your rights. An advocate on your behalf could be the ticket. This is your home. If you have questions, the numbers right there below me have all the answers. Class dismissed.
I was the last guy you'd expect to get diabetes. I was a competitive runner and I always took care of myself. So when I was diagnosed, it kind of threw me. But it's really encouraging to know I'm not alone with it. There are a lot of other people going through the same things as I am. It takes some effort. You have to keep after it. Exercise, meds, and diet are the key. But there are a lot of folks who want me to succeed. Diabetes is not the end of the world. With effort and attitude, you can have a normal life.
A decade of Montana fourth graders on Energy Share. If you're having trouble keeping your home warm this winter, Energy Share of Montana is here to help. We've helped thousands of Montanans who are having trouble paying their energy bills, and getting assistance from the friendly folks at Energy Share is only a phone call or Google search away. Energy Share is not a government program. It's neighbors helping neighbors who face energy emergencies. The Montana way. Call or visit our website today. Thanks to Energy Share, I'm cozy like a bear.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here with a couple of folks from the Department of Revenue, Bryce Katz. Bryce, welcome back. And Shaylin Daigle, welcome to your first time here on Aging Horizons. Now, Shaylin, we're going to talk with you a little bit about the elderly homeowner renter credit, which is very cool because then you don't have to own that home, right?
That's right.
Okay, tell us about it.
So the elderly homeowner renter credit is both for an individual that could either rent or owns a property in the state of Montana. There are certain qualifications in order to qualify for this credit, one of the major being 62 years of age or older by December 31st of 2022 for this period.
And is that another one of those things that if a person is really interested in that and has never dealt with it before, they can go through your call center
Absolutely.
or go online with you and kind of get the gist of what that all means?
Yes, ma'am. So either the call center or our website would be great resources for this credit if you need to know more.
Okay. And, let's talk a bit more about the online filing, because I really think that that's, for our audience, a lot of them do it, and a lot of them are still a little like, gee whiz, I don't know. I'm a little worried about that. Let's talk about that and tell us what you think of that online filing system.
We highly suggest individuals to go ahead and file electronically. One, you get your refund much quicker than a traditional paper file return. Gets into your bank account a lot faster as well. We do provide a lot of resources for the Free File Alliance. You can also file, especially the elderly homeowner renter credit, even if you don't have a filing requirement, on our transaction portal site free of charge. If you do go to our website, the mtrevenue.gov, we do have a list of resources for you to check out. Of course, this is going to depend on your particular tax situation, income, age, requirements, such like that, but we can definitely direct you into the right place for you to go.
So what you're saying, I think, Shaylin, is that there's some resources for some of these free files that maybe a person doesn't have to, especially for folks that are low assets and not on a pretty fixed income, to have to go pay someone to do their taxes seems too much.
Right.
So these are nice ways that people can, and you said they're listed on your website?
Correct.
Or lots of them are listed on your website.
And there's also groups up across the state that do volunteer their time to file, especially the elderly homeowner renter credit, for them for free.
So how would we find out about a group like that? Is that also on your
Sure
website?
is.
Okay, that I honestly didn't know that, folks. Yeah, because I think you're right. I don't know that AARP still does it, but they did for years.
They do.
And lots of different folks that may be able to come to a senior center and help out, or a community center if you're in a little place. So it's worth it to look into it.
It absolutely is.
And I think also with the elderly homeowner renter credit, that's really nice for folks that aren't going to get a bunch of other refunds, and because is it a fairly low income bar to get that?
It is. One of the general requirements is the gross household income for both taxable and non-taxable has to be under $45,000 to qualify.
Okay, 45,000. And does it mean, so household, so it doesn't mean one person, two person, whatever, just the household?
Yep, the household, correct.
Okay. And again, if you were wondering about that, you can call a field office, you can go online and take a look at your website, and there's all those resources. And it doesn't have to be a pain, does it?
That's correct.
It seems like it's pretty easy. It seems like you guys have, because I've looked at your website, and you have lots of these things available for people to just click on and take a look.
Correct.
And just kind of see whether there's something. And I always say, try. Even if you don't for sure think that you can have it, you should at least look into it and try, because you might be surprised that you are eligible.
Absolutely. And taxpayers, if you are eligible and you were the age of 62 or older by December 31st, prior to 2022, you can go back up to 3 years and get the credit for more than 1 year as well.
Wow, that is great news. Because I think this is one of those things that, not necessarily, but it's a well-kept secret sometimes, these kinds of programs. And we want to make sure that folks learn about them and then get the very best of it, because it's not cheating, it's not paying your taxes, it's taking advantage of what our legislature has made law in our state. Folks, again, this is not something that you should see as a cheat. You're getting what you deserve as a taxpayer in this state. Please come back, we have a whole lot more.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Respite. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. Will you provide it?
The hard part about having outside help is that there's not a lot of people out there who can do that kind of work. We've been very fortunate that our Bonnie has been with us for 7 years. I don't know what I'd do without her. I need her in our lives. She's our second mother. And I can't help but think of her that way.
To find out how to change lives, including your own, call 800-224-6034 or visit respite.mt.gov.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
I have so many questions about power of attorney. Well, some powers of attorney are for finances and others are for healthcare decisions.
A power of attorney designates an agent who would make decisions on your behalf.
While making a power of attorney, you have the ability to control your agent's power.
You also have the ability to decide when that POA would take effect.
Wait, am I giving away all my rights? Power of attorney isn't a license to make any decision for you, just those that you've specified.
Your agent should be somebody that's working in your best interest, but it should also be somebody that you would trust.
What if they try to abuse their power?
Protective measures like third-party accounting accounting, secondary signatures, defined spending and gifting limits can help protect against financial exploitation. An agent's powers can always be limited by a customized power of attorney, and they can be revoked by you or the court if the power of attorney is abused.
So carefully drafted estate planning documents can help ensure that your finances are monitored but not abused.
If you or someone you know is being exploited, please report to Aging Services Bureau at 844-277-9300 or the Legal Service Developer at 1-800-332-2272. This message sponsored by the DPHHS Aging Service Bureau.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here with a couple of great guests from the Department of Revenue, and we're talking about tax season and what you need to know and the kinds of tax credits that you might want to look into. We have with us Bryce Katz. And Bryce, you're just an expert. You've been here a million times. You've told us all these great things. And I just want to keep telling that story because we want people to know what's out there for them. Now, I know that you deal with a lot of this stuff. Are there questions that are common that people would relate to?
Sure, there's some pretty common, frequent questions we receive. Some of the big ones are, well, what are the deadlines? For the Property Tax Assistance Program and the Montana Disabled Veterans Program, it's pretty simple. It's just your general tax date, April 15th. Is the deadline to apply for the 2023 tax year for both of the property tax assistance programs we've talked about today. Another thing to remember with those two programs that we get asked a lot of time, well, do I have to reapply every single year?
Oh, good question.
And the answer to that is no. Once you've applied the first time each year, as long as you're continuing to file your Montana tax return, we'll automatically verify your income to see if you still are eligible to receive the program. Usually mid to end of May, we mail everyone that was in the program the prior year a decision letter letting them know that yes, we're granting you're still in the program and what level of benefit you've been approved for, or if your income situation changed and you no longer qualify, we'd send you a letter saying that you were denied.
So, and that's both for the PTAP or the Property Tax Assistance and the VA?
Correct.
Okay.
Both of those programs, you apply the one time. After that, you don't have to reapply. We'll annually verify your income and send you a decision letter, typically the end of May each month.
And nice that you can get, it's a one-stop shop, because I was thinking the letter had to come from VA, and that's really nice that it comes from you guys.
Nope, just that initial time you apply, you have to supply us with the letter from the VA showing that you're rated at the 100% or paid at the 100%.
Yep.
After that, you're pretty much good to go, and each year we'll automatically verify to see if you still qualify based on your income and send you a decision letter.
Super.
With the 2EC program now, that is a tax return, so you do have to file that one annually if you want to continue to receive that benefit. But probably the other most common question we get from people is, well, can I apply for both? And the answer to that is yes. You could potentially get both the 2EC homeowner renter credit and qualify for PTAP. That 2EC program is dependent on what you actually paid in property taxes. So if you're receiving the property tax assistance program, there's a chance you wouldn't qualify for the maximum credit on the 2EC side, but you still might be able to qualify for a partial credit.
Which, again, when we're talking about folks on lower or fixed incomes, any amount will help them.
Yes, of
have
course.
a better life. So we want to make sure that, again, this is what I always told folks when I was working in my Medicare days, apply. And let somebody tell you that you can't get it, but apply, and don't just figure that you're not going to get it. Shaylin, what about in the elderly homeowner credit? Is there other things that you kind of hear about other than the can I apply for this, both of them? Or do you have any common questions that seem to come up?
A lot is the general qualifications and the amount of credits. So the qualifications, again, is the $45,000 threshold for all taxable and non-taxable income. They have to be a Montana resident for at least 9 months out of the year, and they have to be in a dwelling as a leasee renter for at least 6 months. A lot of the other common questions is how much is the max credit? In past years it was $1,000, but for 2022 it actually went up. So the max credit is now $1,150.
How lovely.
And our standard household exclusion actually doubled. So in past years it was $6,300, and now the exclusion is $12,600. So those that were receiving the credit in the past will actually see an increase in credit this year and going forward.
And can you just say a word about the exclusion? Because I don't know that we've ever talked about that. What does that mean?
So it takes the amount of the gross household income and we knock some off the top and don't add it into the calculation.
Okay, that flows right into my you need to try.
Absolutely.
Because you do not know what kind of an exclusion might exist. For whatever program that you're signing up for.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing, Shailene, because you really gave some great information about what you guys have for your resources. So online,
absolutely,
your call centers, and we can put the numbers up on the screen. And if you don't want to, you can just call, right? I mean, if you don't want to go electronically, as a lot of people get frustrated with that, you can call and get an actual voice at one of these call centers.
Oh, absolutely. And we're more than happy to help, especially with this credit. We understand there's a lot of questions and possible uncertainties, but we're here to help and we're here to answer as many questions as we possibly can for you.
Yeah. And Bryce, how many of these call centers do we have around? About?
We have our one main call center for that number.
Okay, gotcha.
They're versed in a broad range of different tax types.
So, but if you live in 2 Dot, you can still call that number because it's a centralized number, or in Helena or in Glasgow.
Yes, that's our main call line. You can call anywhere from in-state, out-of-state, talk to a live person. They're well versed in all of our different tax types, and if they can't answer your question, they know who to get you in contact with who can.
No wrong door. That's the gold standard as far as I'm concerned. Well, I bet you guys are busy these days,
definitely the busy season.
So no vacation, no days off, don't get sick, right? You gotta,
that's right.
You just work, right? Well, and we really thank you. I thank the Department of Revenue because I am not a great person with numbers, and I have had a couple of times where they've helped me figure something out. And so I am really happy that you're there, and we're happy that you're there to just be a resource for people that are just not sure what to do next. And to have such a full online presence is also wonderful. So we just really want to thank you both for being here with us today. And folks, again, it does not need to be painful. You just need to put your mind to it, decide this is going to take me a few hours, maybe a little longer, but get online, take a look, see what's there for resources, and if you don't know, call. Well, they're happy to take your phone. For Aging Horizons, I'm Kimmy Everman.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.